Maybe he's going to make a comeback. Who knows?
Ustedes me oyen ahora a
But
mí.
think how bad Florida would be. Remember one thing. Florida has been tremendously successful for many years, long before this guy became governor. Florida was tremendously successful under Rick Scott.
A ver si me escuchan a mí. Ustedes me están oyendo a mí porque yo necesito saber si esto es un problema de audio o es un problema, otro tipo de problema. ¿Ustedes me escuchan a mí? ¿Me escuchan a alguien? No hay nadie ahí que me diga, por favor. Nada, ni me escuchas a mí tampoco. No me oyen a mí tampoco, ninguna me oye, no me escuchan, no se oye nada. No me escucho yo. Wow. A mí sí. A mí sí. Ahora sí. Nada. Uf. Esto es un problema grande. A mí sí. Ahora ustedes sí me escuchan. Bueno, pues entonces eso es un problema con el streaming. Eso es un problema con el streaming porque es imposible, si ustedes me escuchan a mí y yo pongo algo y ustedes lo ven, ni el zumbido de una mosca. Bueno, las otras chicas dicen que sí me oyen a mí. Entonces, Luz, tú también estás teniendo un problemita por allá. A mí sí se me... Hola, Clau. Esto entonces es un problema con el YouTube o es un problema de audio mío. No es, porque si fuera de audio mío yo no estuviera aquí toda en green. Aquí yo tengo el micrófono y el micrófono está perfectamente, se ve, todo está bien con el micrófono, todo está bien aquí. Ok, entonces es el problema de... y si yo pongo esto, ustedes no lo oyen. ¿Ustedes oyen esto ahora?
When they go after me, they're going after you. I left behind a magnificent life and I stepped up to fight for America because no one else would do it or would do it properly. Matt said it.
Sí, oyen la voz. Okay. Si oyen la voz de él, entonces eso es.
Thank you. You know, they have the best seat in the House. A lot of people don't know.
Y ahí lo
oyen. A lot
of
people have been hired from sitting back there. You know that? Those cameras are on them. They can't see what I'm doing. They can only see me from the back. I try and turn around. But they can see what powerful shoulders I have. But those cameras are on there for 2 hours. And every once in a while, a face will be so crazy, so good, so wild, that lots of good things
pues
happen.
Acaba de acabar con De Santi, lo que le ha dicho a De Santi.
They may have a better seat, but I'd rather have your seat.
Lo puso como la suela de un
Since
zapato.
that moment, all of the hatred, rage, and contempt the radical left has for you and your values and this nation.
Dice que la radical libre no tiene valores y está llevando al país a una nación sin valores.
They're not even getting close. It's been a stream of lies and abuse that few people could ever imagine. Few people can imagine. I had a man come up to me, a very famous man. Almost everybody probably would have heard of him, a businessman. I saw him about 2 weeks ago. He said to me, could I ask you, I never even liked him very much, to be honest, but he did say it. He said, could I speak to you for a second? Yeah. Mr. President, I'd like to ask you one question. How do you take it? I said, take what? How do you take the abuse?
Dice que le dice que cómo tú aguantas y soportas tanto abuso que hacen contra ti.
If that ever happened to me, I think
Dice, yo si fuera el presidente y fuera tú y tuviera que aguantar eso, no lo puedo aguantar.
Make America great again, because you
Y
have a
él
lot
le
of people
dijo
that
que
don't
él
want
lo
to
que
see
quiere es
our
hacer
country
América
be
mejor de
great.
nuevo.
It's hard to believe. But he
Eso
did
es
ask me
algo
that
que
question.
tiene
I
que
have that
hacer.
question. That's one of the most often asked questions that I get, Wesley. How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you get up in the morning? And I
¿Cómo
don't
te
like it
levantas por la
because it's such a
mañana y
negative
cómo
thought.
puedes
I'll
todos
start
los
thinking
días
about it. I
estar
don't
con
wanna
esa
think
gente
about it.
arriba de ti que no te
Because if I
dejan,
think
te
about
tienen
it too much, I'll
sofocado, no
probably
te
start
dejan
agreeing with him,
respirar?
but I'm never going to do that. But I've
Dice,
had,
yo siempre voy a
and I've
estar ahí
borne
para el
all
pueblo.
of this willingly, and I watch other people run for office. I mean, Mike Bloomberg spent $2.5 billion. He never got past the first question, right?
Dice, hubo uno que se llamaba Mike Bloomberg, se gastó como $2.5
But I do it
millones de
again
dólares y nunca
because I love
llegó a
you and I
nada.
love our country.
Pero yo lo hago por el amor que tengo a mi patria.
Thank you.
That's Trump. That's my guy. El lugar está lleno, está bastante llenito.
So they're not coming after me, they're coming
No
after
están
you, and
yendo
I'm
en
just
sí
standing in their way, and I'm
atrás
going to
de
be
mí.
standing
Ellos
in their
están
way
yendo
for a
detrás de
long
mí porque
time,
quieren
and
llegar a
eventually I
ustedes.
won't
Quieren
have to
llegar
stand
a
in
we
their
the
way,
people,
because
a ustedes, el pueblo.
in 2024 we're going to have the greatest victory of them all. We'll have the greatest victory of them all.
Dice, y yo sé y estoy convencido que ahora
You
vamos
know,
a
by
tener la
having
mejor
this delay of
victoria
4 years, it was devastating for
para el
the psyche
24.
of our country. It was devastating for our country, devastating for
Las
many
cosas que
people.
están pasando son
When you look at
devastadoras para nuestra
millions and
nación,
millions and
devastadoras
millions
para
of
las
people pouring
personas.
into our country,
Cuando
devastating.
ustedes
But
miran a los
you know, the
millones
one
y
thing
millones
is
de
bigger. If we do it in
personas
24, it's much bigger than
con
had
las
we done it
situaciones
in
que
20.
están soportando, las
Because we
situaciones
have
que están
learned how
pasando,
this
esto
other
es
side and how
increíble.
these policies don't
Estas
work.
pólizas que
When you look at
están,
what happened with Afghanistan, I
que
was
están
taken
habiendo
about.
es
Everybody was coming
horrendo.
out of
Miren lo que,
Afghanistan.
lo
I
que
was the
pasó
one
en
that got it down
Afganistán.
to
Lo que pasó en
2,500
Afganistán
people.
nunca
We were
tuvo
keeping
de tomar
Bagram,
lugar.
however, not
Eso
because
no
of
tenía por qué haber
Afghanistan.
pasado.
We're keeping Bagram because of China. 1 hour away from where they make their nuclear plants. Bagram Air Base is the biggest in the world, and you know who's occupying it right
Dice
now?
que Bagram
China.
Airspace es un lugar donde está a
China.
1 hora de donde China hace las
And they
armas
left in the
nucleares.
dark of night, and they did leave the dogs behind. A lot of dog lovers. We all love
Que eso
dogs,
estaba
but they
cerca
did.
de
A lot
ahí.
of people said, did they leave the dogs
Y dice,
behind? Those great
dejaron
German
hasta los
shepherds like
animalitos,
Conan.
no
Remember
solamente
Conan?
dejaron los tanques,
He went
dejaron los
after
equipos,
al-Baghdadi.
dejaron las
That was
armas,
not a good
dejaron
day for
todo, dejaron hasta
al-Baghdadi.
los perros.
But
Los
under
perros
Joe
que ellos
Biden,
tenían
American patriots
entrenados,
are
que eran
being arrested and
policías,
held in
también
captivity
los
like
dejaron
animals. Look at what's
atrás.
happening in Washington. And I will tell you, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the expert. She's been to that prison many times.
Dice, lo que está pasando con los de J6, con los de enero 6, con los prisioneros, eso es increíble. Y la que está aquí, que es Marjorie Greene, sabe eso muy bien, porque ella ha tratado de entrar varias veces y eso, como están viviendo en situaciones deplorables.
Medics and doctors in a couple of cases. These are people that shouldn't have been there. And when you look at the Tucker Carlson tapes from
La
2
situación que
weeks
está
ago,
pasando
and you
ahí
see
es
so many things that turned out to be false. Very important what Tucker's done, what Sean has done, what Laura did. Laura did a piece last
así
night that
mismo
was
hay que pedir
incredible.
por la protección
And
de
Jesse, there's a group of people that have been
Hay que pedir por la
absolutely
protección.
fantastic. Greg Kelly has been great. Rob over there has been great. Newsmax just got its 15 million people back, which is great. Which is great. Newsmax, they tried to destroy Newsmax.
Trataron de
What they've
destrozar
done
a
to OAN is
Newsmax.
horrible, horrible. But
le
they tried
hicieron
to
cosas
destroy
horribles, pero
Newsmax
bueno,
and through
no
a lot of
pudieron
different
al final.
things. They got it back. DirecTV,
Pero
they
ya
didn't
lo
like
tienen
it.
de regreso y
And
no
they
pudieron
had very high
fin
ratings
hacerlo.
and they took it off. That's something pretty unusual. But
Que
while
todo esto que
leftist
está pasando
thugs are
son cosas
allowed to roam the
inusuales,
streets,
son cosas que
killing, looting,
no son
burning,
usuales
raping, and pillaging
bajo un mandato de un
patriotic parents,
presidente.
Christians, conservatives, pro-life activists
Le están
are
yendo
being
atrás a los cristianos,
hounded
a
by
los
the
conservadores,
FBI and the
a todo lo
DOJ.
que ellos
Like terrorists
no
are being
quieren.
treated so
Son
badly.
terribles. La
They're
federal
allowed to
es
spy on my
horrenda.
campaign and nothing happens. They're allowed to write up fake dossiers,
Permitieron que me estuvieran
send it around to
espiando
everybody,
en
and
mi
it turned out
campaña.
to be a total hoax.
Todo
There
esto
was
que han
nothing
hecho
true in
y
it.
que han
It
creado
was done
sobre
by the
mí es un
Democrats
hoax,
and
es una
crooked
mentira,
Hillary Clinton.
es fallido.
But they persecuted us,
Me
and yet Joe
persiguieron
Biden
a mí,
is a
los han
stone cold
perseguido a
criminal
ustedes,
caught
a
dead to
todos
right,
los que son
and nothing
derechistas.
happens to him. Forget the family.
Y lo
nothing
peor de
happens
todo
to him.
esto es que nada le
Yesterday,
pasa a
the
él.
press
Está
reported that
refiriéndose al
millions and
chochín,
millions of dollars
al
came into his
pedófilo
family's
que está
bank
allí
accounts
ahora.
from China.
Ahora está hablando de China.
Can you imagine if that were me? How would I do if that were?
Imagínense si
China
eso hubiera
paid
sido yo.
millions and millions, and you know they had to describe the work for Jim Comer. They wanted to describe the work, and it didn't look too good because they had no idea why they got the money. They had no idea. Millions and millions of dollars coming in from China. The
Mucho
mainstream
dinero
media
de las cosas que
didn't
están
even
haciendo
pick
con
up
China.
a
Si
tiny
hubiera
piece of
sido
that
yo
story.
el
Can
que
you
hubiera
believe it?
estado
You look at the mainstream
prestándome
media,
para
they
eso y
they
hubiera
don't talk
estado
about it. They're
creando
right
esas
there.
narrativas con la China,
fact, it was a very
me hubieran
big-
ya desaparecido hace rato.
They don't talk about it. Amazing. You know, it's amazing because
Correcto.
when I started, they had a very, very high popularity and approval rating. And now they're lower than Congress. Lower than, I'm very proud of that. I've exposed, but they were never like this. Now they're deranged. And not all of them. I'd say 10% of them are okay, right? But the
Dice,
10%
casi
have
todos
a very
ellos, yo
hard
diría que
time.
más de un
They have a very hard
10%
time. And nobody can understand
es normal,
why
pero el resto
a
son
media would be
deranged.
against
Deranged es que
things
tienen
where we
problemas
want
en la
good
mente, no
education for our
están bien,
children,
no
where
son
we want,
personas normales.
where we want
Y
real
lo que está
strong
pasando con los
military,
niños
where we
es muy
want low
importante,
taxes
la
and low
militar,
regulations and good schools and
lo que
good
están
all.
haciendo,
It's just a crazy
ahí
thing
mismo lo
that they're
está, es lo
fighting
que
against.
habla en clave,
For some
por eso
reason,
es
the
tan,
radical left, I
es
don't
tan
even think they know what they're
difícil
doing. I think they're
traducir
probably, they have so much
una,
hatred for our side, they don't want to listen to
un
the
rally
issues,
de
they don't want to
él,
listen to the
porque los
policy.
speech de
But
él,
it's a very strange
él lo
thing. You
mismo
know, we
va
had
para
more
atrás que para
requests,
adelante, que
over
para atrás,
500
que para
requests
adelante,
from
entonces...
media. And I said, that's nice, but
Pero él
probably by
estaba
this
hablando
point,
allí,
they've
estaba
done
dejando saber
90%
que la
of it.
militar
I
está
think
a
those red
cargo
lights
de
have
los
gone
niños,
off
la
about
militar está
30 minutes
haciendo
ago.
aún cosas
I watch it.
para que
You know,
eso se
CNN,
acabe
which
de
has the
limpiar.
lowest ratings in their history,
Entonces ahora
because
está
they're fake
hablando del
news.
CNN,
Anybody
en la
that has to
historia de
hire Don
CNN,
Lemon has to be fake news.
todos los
Don
ratings
Lemon.
tan malos que han tenido ellos, que están
You ever watch it?
y el Don Lemon, que
in prime
es
time.
el moreno
So they move him to the morning at a
norteamericano
ridiculous
que
salary,
estaba
right?
ahí en
They
CNN,
probably
que
paid him more. Why did they
es
do that? Why don't they
increíble,
just hire
no
somebody
cogía
new? He can
rating
only do
ninguno,
better.
nadie lo
They
quería
should
allí.
hire Matt Gaetz. Would you like to get a...
Dice que por favor
The weaponization of our justice system is not, as some have
el
called it,
armamento
a
de
political
nuestra
spectacle.
nación
This is
nunca ha
the
estado tan
central
peor como
issue
antes.
of our
Entonces
time. I
estuvo
think it's one
diciendo
of the
de Matt
biggest issues.
Gaetz,
And by the
que
way,
ese es el amigo de él, que
nobody
es
called out
republicano de aquí
China
de la
like Donald
Florida,
Trump.
que es
Nobody
un
called out
congressman.
Russia like Donald Trump. And they want to know, remember when they said, oh, he's soft on Russia? Putin said to me, if you're soft, I'd hate like hell to see you when you're tough. I called off, remember, I ended Nord Stream 2. Nobody in this audience, nobody in Washington ever heard of Nord Stream 2. That's the pipeline. I ended the pipeline.
Él
I
terminó,
gave them
la
hundreds
línea
and
del
hundreds
pipeline.
of javelins, whereas
Y
Obama gave
habían
them
cientos de
pillows.
jabalines,
Maybe they got them
en
from
otras
Michael
palabras,
Bell.
de
Did they buy them from
corruptos.
Mike, I hope they didn't. You'll be under investigation tomorrow.
Y entonces, imagínense, eso fue una de
No,
las
they gave
cosas
him
que ellos
pillows and
también
sheets. I gave
odiaron.
them javelins. And then they said, and you saw what those javelins did to their tanks. That wasn't pretty. But that was me that gave it to them. And then they say, Trump was
Los
soft. I saw it
tanques
the other day.
también
Some
lo-
idiot was saying, Trump was actually soft on Russia. I ended Nord Stream 2. The pipeline was done. And one of the first
Sí,
things that
él
Biden
está
did when
hablando
he
de
came
lo que hizo
back,
con
and
Rusia,
this is
los
the biggest
pipelines
thing,
que hizo
that
con
is the
ellos.
biggest development they've ever done. That was economic development. That was massive money. This was a pipeline going to Germany. And
Era
all of Europe,
un pipeline,
spread all
era
over
como,
Europe. I
era
ended
para el
it.
gas
And I
que
told
iba
Europe, if
hasta
you aren't going to go
Alemania.
along with me, then I'm not going to do any
¿Cómo es que le
business
dicen
because
a
Europe
eso?
is almost as bad as China
Pipeline en
having to
español,
do with
ahora no me
trade. A lot of us
acuerdo.
come from Europe indirectly, directly and indirectly. So we love
Pero
Europe.
es donde va el
But
gas,
they rip
las,
us off
las
just like
líneas
everybody.
de
And I was
gas,
very
las
worried
líneas
yesterday
de
when I
gas.
watched in Canada Joe Biden talking about different deals they're making with Canada. I dealt with Trudeau. And I dealt with some of his people.
Todavía
They treat
está
us
sin luz.
horribly on trade.
Luz,
And
no
I'm
tienes
watching
luz
these
todavía.
different deals
Wow.
that they're announcing. They are horrible,
tienes
horrible
electricidad.
deals for our country. They're great for Canada, but horrible, horrible deals for our country. But the destruction of the rule of law is a
Gasoconducto.
tremendous threat to Western
Sí,
civilization.
pipelines.
And
Es
say, I was
que
asked the other
si
day,
voy a
and I took a little heat
traducirlo
for it.
al
They said, "Who's our
español
biggest threat?"
literalmente,
Is it China, sir?
gasoconducto,
Is
pipeline
it
quiere
Russia?
decir líneas
I said, no, our biggest threat are
de gas.
high-level politicians that work in the United States government, like Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi.
Está hablando de todos
Schumer,
los corruptos que estaban allí en Washington,
Biden,
como la Nancy Pelosi, el Schumer,
Justice
el
Department.
departamento de
Because that's
DOJ, que es el
poisoning our
departamento
country.
de
I can do
justicia,
things with
que
China. I made
todos
the greatest trade
extremadamente
deal in history
corruptos y
with China.
todos
I don't even talk about it
increíbles.
because sometime after that, fairly shortly, what happened with COVID, it was like I didn't want to talk about a trade deal because no trade
Dice
deal you
que,
make
y
is going to
también
ever.
lo que pasó
50
con el,
billion,
ya saben, con el
50 trillion
C-19,
dollars
pues ha
worldwide.
sido
Trillion. $50
tremendo,
trillion
tremendo,
is the
tremendo,
damage
horrible.
done. China doesn't have anywhere near that money. Nobody has anywhere near that money. The damage they
50
did. So I don't
trillones
talk
de
about it.
dólares
But
en
I had a
damages.
great relationship with China. We put massive tariffs. We took
Y cuando yo estaba,
hundreds and
pues yo
hundreds
tenía
of
una
billions
buena
of dollars
relación
out
con
of
la gente de la
China. No
China.
other
Yo
president
tenía,
took anything out of China, not 10
no
cents.
tenía problema con
But
ellos,
the
ellos
only way to
respetaban.
stop these arsonists, and that's what they are, is
Y el
arsonists.
dinero
And I really
fluía,
do believe,
fluía de
and
ambas
I
partes.
say, oh, Trump likes
Y ellos
China
tuvieron
more
que
than he
pagar.
likes crazy Nancy Pelosi.
La loca de Nancy
But in many
Pelosi.
ways, these sick people are more of a threat.
Esta
because
gente, de
we can
verdad,
deal
yo se
with
lo digo a
China.
todos
I
ustedes
was
que ellos
beating
están
China
enfermos,
so
ellos no están
badly,
bien de la
nobody's ever
cabeza.
seen. We were lapping them. And then COVID came in, we had to go back, we did a great job. And when
Hicimos un
we
buen trabajo después que vino todo el
unfortunately
problema de
had
la
to
pandemia.
give up what we were doing. Very sad,
Pero
sad
todo lo que
day for
hicieron fue
everybody in this
triste, muy
audience and
triste,
for,
muy
frankly,
triste.
most of the country, because we were doing so well. But the stock market was actually higher than it was just days before
Y fue
COVID was
increíble
something that
que
nobody
el
ever saw
stock
came
market, el
into our country.
mercado
So we
de
really
trading
rebuilt it
estuvo muy
twice.
bien
But if you go
hasta
back
los
to
últimos
those earlier
momentos, pero
days, which
después,
wasn't that long ago,
imagínense.
we had a country the likes of which nobody has ever done before. And China wasn't a threat. China was actually in deep trouble because we had all the power. We had this economic power that was
Cuando estaba
used
yo, al
very
contrario, la
judiciously,
China
but
estaba
we
en
were
tremendo
winning, and we were
problema
winning
porque
big.
nosotros teníamos
The
el
problem
poder de
isn't
todo.
China. The problem is stupid people that have to deal with China. That's the problem, and that's what we have. And I watched Joe Biden yesterday in the halls of Parliament, Canadian Parliament, this beautiful Parliament, and there's Trudeau with his beautiful wife, and they're sitting there laughing and laughing. They think it's so great because they pulled the wool over his eyes. The deals they made for that guy, I would never have made those deals.
¿Qué cosa
I would
es
never.
el chirrinchi?
But I watched Joe Biden say, I'd like to thank China. And he's in Canada. And then he goes, oh, because they start screaming at him. The entire room starts laughing. I'd like to thank China. But he's in Canadian Parliament. He said, I mean Canada. The whole place was laughing. They're laughing in our country. We don't want anyone to laugh.
Dice
Nobody
que
laughed
las
at our
cosas que
country
están
when I ran it.
paseando
I can tell you that.
somos una burla en este momento para el mundo entero, que la gente se ríe de
The
todo
only
lo que
way
está
to stop
pasando
these
con
arsonists
este
is to
hombre.
rebuke and reject this evil persecution
Chirrinchi.
by sending us straight back to the White House to expel the communists
esa
and
mujer
the
es borracha
Marxists and
por
all
tu
of them
vida.
in 2024. And we'll do it in short
Eso
order.
es mucho,
One thing
mucho.
I'll tell you what, I was in Washington drinking 17 times in my
Cualquiera se
life.
toma
They
una
say the fake
cerveza,
news
cualquiera
reports
se
it's
toma
all
un
about nothing
traguito,
but not much
dos
more than that.
traguitos, pero
17 times I never
ella
stayed
se
over.
empina la botella.
And I wasn't aware too much of that particular society. It's a DC society. And I had to
Dice,
rely
yo
on a lot
nunca
of people.
estuve
Some were around us, but they
mucho
gave me
involucrado en la sociedad de
advice. And we
Washington,
had
D.C.
unbelievable
Esa
people. We
sociedad a
rebuilt
mí
our
nunca me
military, we got
gustó
the tax cuts, we
y
got
la
so
verdad
much,
es
we did
que
so much.
una vez que
But we
estuve
had some I
allí,
wouldn't have
no,
used. I would have liked to have
mucho
had
menos.
more powerful, stronger attorney generals.
Pero hubiera querido tener abogados generales más fuertes que fueran gente más capaces de hacer otra cosa. Yo conozco los que de verdad, ahora esta vez sí conozco los que de verdad están al lado de la verdad y al lado de la libertad y al lado de los derechos correctos de como debe ser. Ahora los conozco. ¿Cuáles son esos? ¿Y cuáles no son esos?
And I got great advice, including your son. That was good advice.
Y yo cogí
His son
muy
was a
buenas
great US attorney,
recomendaciones
one of
de
the best.
Dan.
But you know, we get good advice, but you also get some advice. Right now, I know the good ones, and we know the bad ones, and
Y
we know the
ahora
weak ones, and we
conocemos,
know
lo
the
bueno
strong
es
ones.
que ahora
But we
conocemos
know
los
the
buenos,
ones
los
that
que
love our
sirven,
country, because
y
it's all about
conocemos
common
los que
sense
son
and
malos
love.
y no sirven.
Never forget, the very same people who are always after me are the ones throwing open your borders to millions
No
and
se
millions
olviden nunca que los que están yendo detrás de mí son los que abrieron la frontera y lo que han hecho un desparparro allí, lo que han hecho es increíble. Casas allí fueron sacudidas porque llegaban estos inmediatamente y entraban y rompían las propiedades esas, hacían cosas horribles.
But they're flooding your towns with deadly drugs, selling
Ahora
your jobs to
están
China,
metiéndole en los
mutilating your children. They're
sus
mutilating your
pueblos
children. Who would
las
have
drogas,
thought 12 years
todo
ago
lo
a
que
thing
es el
like that to say would be
narcotráfico,
ridiculous? Nobody would
todo
know
esto es lo que están
what you're even
queriendo
talking
infiltrar
about.
ahora. Todo
Setting
esto es
fire to
horrible
your
para el
life
país.
savings, releasing violent criminals
Prendiendo
to prey on
fuego,
innocent
haciendo
people.
violencia,
We have so
criminales
many people
violentos,
pouring in, and so many of these people are
demasiadas
not the people you
personas
want coming
corruptas
into
y
our country.
criminales.
Justice will only be done when we have
Pero
thrown this
solamente
repulsive
la
political
justicia va a
class the
prevaler
hell
y
out
va
of
a
office.
ser
We have to get them
justa
out.
cuando
In
cuando él
2016, I
regrese
declared,
y
I am your
cuando la
voice.
policía
And now I say
los
to you
dejen
again
actuar
tonight,
adecuadamente
I
y
am
los policías
your warrior.
puedan hacer las
I
cosas
am
correctas.
your justice.
Entonces él le está diciendo ahora a los macabros,
And I took a
yo
lot of
voy a
heat
hacer
for this
la
one.
justicia.
But I only mean it in the proper way for those who have been wronged and betrayed, of which there are many people out
Para
there that have been
esos
wronged
que han
and
hecho las
betrayed.
cosas
I am
mal
your
hechas y que han
retribution. We will take
traicionado
care of it.
la patria, han traicionado a la
We will
gente, han
take care of
traicionado
it.
al país. Yo me voy a
You could
encargar
take
de
the 5
ellos.
worst presidents in American history and put them all together, and
Si
they would not
recogemos
have
los
done the
últimos 5
damage that Joe
presidentes más
Biden
malos
has
de los
done to our
Estados
nation
Unidos,
in just
los
2.5
más malos,
short years.
no sería nada comparado con lo que ha
What they've
hecho
done
el
to our
Chochín, con lo que
nation,
ha
these
hecho
people
Joe
of what they've
Biden,
done
porque
to our
ha
nation.
acabado con la nación.
The stakes of
Y lo
this
que le está
election
haciendo
could
a la
not be more
nación.
clear. Either we surrender to the demonic forces abolishing and demolishing and happily doing so our country, or we defeat them in a landslide on November 5th, 2024.
Tenemos que vencerlo en un landslide, en una volcadiza enorme para
Either
poder
the deep state
terminar con
destroys
ese deep
America,
state, con
or
terminar con
we
todo esto.
destroy
Y esto tiene
the
que
deep
pasar
state.
en
That's the
noviembre
way it's
4 a
gotta be.
noviembre 5.
We're at a very pivotal point in our country. Either we
Estamos
descend
en
into
un
a lawless
punto
abyss of open borders, rampant
muy
killings,
importante, en un punto muy vívido
super
en este momento.
hyperinflation, which is what we have right now and not coming down, and festering corruption, or we evict Joe Biden and the Democrats from the White
Este
House and we
señor
make
de la Casa
America
Blanca,
great
ya
again.
sabemos, el Chochín, lo que está haciendo es actos criminales
We
y
are
actos que
thrilled to be
están
joined by great friends of mine and
completamente
Texas patriots who
erróneos.
support us, many of whom are here tonight. We've gotten so many endorsements, it's incredible, but many of them are here. And I
Hay
want to
muchos
start with the head
endorsements
of
que
our
tengo
campaign,
aquí,
along with your
muchos de ellos
great
están
Attorney
de mi
General.
campaña, están aquí
But
esta
he's been a
noche.
friend of mine for a long time, and
Y quiero
he called
hablar
up
de uno
right
de
after
ellos
the
que es
election.
un
He
amigo
said, "We
mío de
gotta
hace
do it
mucho,
again,
mucho,
sir. We have
mucho
no
tiempo.
choice." So I want to ask Dan Patrick to
A
please
Dan
stand.
Patrick,
Lieutenant
que por
Governor
favor
Dan
se
Patrick.
pare y que él es el
Great job,
gobernador Dan
He's a
Patrick.
great man. He loves this state and he loves this country.
Él
Attorney
ama
General
su
Ken
país,
Paxton.
ama
Thank you,
este
Ken.
estado y está
Thank you
haciendo
very much.
un trabajo excepcional.
Representatives Ronnie Jackson, love him, Texas, 'cause
Ronnie
he's
Jackson,
special.
que es un representante estatal de Texas,
He's a
también
doctor,
está
he's
haciendo
an
un trabajo
admiral, and he's a politician, a
admirable.
congressman. I said, which do you like best? I think he said maybe being a doctor. But he gave me a cognitive test. You know, Ronnie Jackson in the White House. You know, they said, this guy is brilliant. He's going to destroy our country. He's taking it over lock. Okay, that was about 2 weeks. They had all different narratives. Then they say, oh, he's dumb as a rock.
Al gato y el otro
Then
al
they say
garabato.
something else. He's in the middle.
Lavando
They had about
arriba.
19 different narratives. I said to Ronnie Jackson, is there a test I can take to
Ay,
prove
claro,
how
eso
smart
estuvo
I am?
cómico.
Well, sir, we have the so-and-so cognitive test that's given by Walter Reed. I said, well, is it tough? He said, actually, after the first few questions, it gets pretty tough. The problem is if you do badly, I don't know if we'll be able to shield it because, you know, it's sort of a public place. Other doctors see it. Other doctors are there when the test is given. I said, should I do it or not? And I did it. And you know what? I aced it, got them all right, every single one. Some of them are tough. And you know, it was after that that nobody called me stupid anymore. It was very good. Because I
Dice
never
que
liked that
fue
narrative. I don't like the
después
word
de eso
stupid,
que
but
nadie
other
le
people
llamó
are very
estúpido,
stupid.
después que él hizo lo que él tuvo que
Another
hacer.
guy who's fantastic, Troy Nels. This guy is
También
a
hay
warrior.
otro que se llama
He
Troy
is a warrior. He's
Noyes,
tough
que
as
es
hell.
un guerrero
And somebody, I
alguien
wish
que-
I had a future like this guy.
eh,
You heard him
que
speak
él
before. I
quisiera
heard
tener
him
un
from
futuro
that
como
very
ese
nice
hombre
airplane that's
porque
behind
dice
us.
que es
I said, you know,
increíble.
I never knew you were that great a speaker. I've heard the word Wesley Hunt. He's a great speaker.
Wesley Hunt.
Thank you. Thank you, Wesley. And by the way, these are all people that have endorsed me. Because if they didn't endorse me, I say don't even come.
Todas estas personas
I have a few
son
said, sir, I
las que
love
me
you.
han
We're going to endorse you
endorsado.
down the road. I
Y
said,
si no
that's
fuera por
okay.
ellos,
Don't
yo
bother
ni
coming.
estuviera corriendo
These
ahora
people
otra vez.
endorsed me. Michael Burgess just endorsed me. Thank you, Michael.
Por eso
Where's
él
Mike? He's
empezó
around
por
here
Texas,
somewhere.
porque Texas
Pete
es un
Sessions, whose
estado
wife Karen
principal
is here. Where's Karen?
importante.
Karen. Great. Say hello to Pete. Thank you very much. A great honor to have your endorsement. John Carter, great guy, great guy. John, thank you. Randy Weber. Randy, wherever you are, Randy, thank you for the
Son
endorsement.
bastantes
These are
los
only
que él
endorsers.
tiene
The rest
ahí
of them I'm
como
really not
patrocinadores,
You ever have these
sponsors de
guys,
él,
sir?
que le han
Thank
dado
you very
su
much for the
endorso.
endorsement. A year later, you call.
Eso es muy
I said, I
importante.
hear they're waiting with the endorsement, but they'll be waiting a long time. But we have mostly, almost everybody. A very special guy, great baseball player, great golfer, actually. I played golf with him. He's really terrific. But he's a very brave man. He went with Steve Scalise and some others in that horror show on the baseball field in Washington. And he's fully recovered, but he was hurt pretty badly. He had a lot of courage. And he's a handsome sucker. If I was doing a movie, I'd probably pick him as my lead politician. Roger Williams is a great guy. Thank you, Roger. You're looking good,
Ay,
Roger.
por tu vida, Luz. Pero
Another
bueno, vamos a
beautiful
esperar que
endorsement. I
para
was
esta
very
noche
proud of it.
tengan
Brian
luz.
Babin. Thank you,
Wow.
Brian. Thank you, Congressman. And Pat Fallon, too. And Beth Van Dyne. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Beth. Really great people, and many others. Texas Land Commissioner Dawn Buckingham. That was another good one. Thank you, Dawn. Texas Agriculture Commissioner, friend of mine right from the beginning, Sid Miller.
Estás con una linterna. Eso es una linterna, Luz.
You know,
Lo que
when I was
tienes
running
para
in
poder.
2016, the first time I ever saw this
Es
guy,
como
he had this
un
big
aparatico
cowboy hat
así, ¿no?
on.
Es como si fuera
And I said, man,
una.
I wish I could get away with that, but I can't. You know, New York, it wouldn't work as well. At the time, New York. And,
El rubio de oro,
because of taxes
así
and
mismo.
other things, because they're doing not a good job. We moved to Florida.
Lo veo más rubio hoy.
and,
El
it's,
pelo lo tiene más
you know,
rubio.
really, a big difference.
¿Será él o será el
Big difference.
doble?
But you know, we have Sid Miller was on television, and I don't know if you remember this. They were
Es la
asking
voz
him a
de
question
él.
on CNN fake news, and they said, We
Sí,
understand the
como las de
president is
minero,
down in the polls,
que
he's
son así,
losing
más o menos, y se cargan.
to crooked Hillary
Oh my
Clinton.
gosh.
And the first time I ever saw this guy, and he had that beautiful Texas accent, I do love actually, I'd like to have it. But unlike some of the politicians, I don't do it while I'm with you. You have to take me.
Yo tengo de esas aquí
But
también,
she said, I
pero
don't know what
son
polls you're
recargables
looking at.
del sol.
But let me give you
Se
a little
cargan
statement. Donald Trump
con el
is
sol.
not losing Texas. He's not down in the polls. He's going to win in a landslide. And that's exactly what happened. And we won it twice in a landslide. We won it twice.
No,
And a
sí,
fantastic
a mí me
person who's got
parece
a
que
great future also is
no lo vi
Congresswoman
caminando
Myra
como él
Flores.
cuando
So,
se bajó
thank you very
del,
much. Thank you, great.
del avión
She
y,
ran a
y
great
andó,
race.
no lo vi con la
And there for
actitud
me and out for them.
del
And we're
verdadero,
also
no
joined
sé.
by some people from
Me
out of
quedé así
state,
como
people that are very
diciendo,
quiet. You don't
esto
know
me
too much
suena un
about them.
poquito.
They keep a low profile.
Está
like
caminando
Matt
un poco
Gaetz.
raro, no camina como el otro.
I don't know what he's running for, but I'm with him. I have
Mira,
no
Mark
idea
Gaetz.
because he's a smart cookie. He is a
Perdón.
smart, tough guy, and we love him. I love him. Just got married to somebody that's actually far superior to him, right? Do we agree? He has a great wife. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene es otra que todo el mundo la ama, que es, vaya, 100%
I
una
don't
de
want
las
to
que lo
insult you
vaquea
by
a él
saying
y
this,
está con
Marjorie,
él
but on the
al
plane I said, you
100%.
know, people don't realize how brilliant she is.
Dicen,
She
la gente
won-
no sabe y no comprende
She's
lo
a- she's a
brillante que
badass.
ella es y lo inteligente que ella es.
Now, these are two smart, great people.
Son dos
McLennan
personas
County
muy
GOP Chair
inteligentes, ella
Brad
y
Hollins.
Gertz.
Brad. Great, Brad. Thank you very much. A friend of mine, Andy Beal. Andy Beal, Beal Bank. He is the smartest banker. He makes money if the market goes up, if the market goes down. He goes against it, for it. I've never seen him. He's a great poker
Dice,
player
este es
too.
un
by the
amigo
way.
mío
But Andy
que
Beal is here someplace
no
in the
importa
audience.
si el
He's one of the
mercado-
greatest
Ay,
businessmen in our
perdón.
country. He's one of the greatest bankers
Tengo un poco
I've ever seen.
sueño,
So,
porque
the
yo no
Beal
dormí
Bank.
bien anoche.
Contest winners.
Dice, estos
Gene
son
and
amigos
Lonnie
míos que
Burns.
si el
Where
mercado
are
hace
you? You
bien,
won the
ellos
contest.
hacen dinero y si el
That's
mercado
good.
hace mal, pues también
Congratulations.
ellos
That's
hacen
good.
dinero.
A man who, every time I introduce him, you know, because I'm not looking, you know, to get him to sell pillows and things, but, you know, every time I introduce
Él no
him,
está
he
hoy
gets the
con
biggest
corbata
applause.
puesta,
Mike
eso
Lindell.
me...
See what I
Mike
mean?
Lindell.
He does.
Mike Lindell
Let
es
me
uno
tell you,
de
he's
los
a
que
brave
siempre
guy.
está
The FBI hit
reforzando a la
him too, and they
gente
took
y
your phones
diciendo a la
and
gente
stuff, right?
que
Which to
sigan
Mike
para
is like
adelante, que
taking
lo
his
apoyen,
business, he tells me. But
que no
they just
estén
walked in,
mirando
they took his
Fox,
phones,
que
and for
estén
no reason.
mirando
For no reason. He said
a
nothing
True
to do with
Social,
anything
que ahí
bad.
es donde está la verdad, que ahí
And
es
a
donde
man
todo
who's
lo
been
que está
a
pasando se
fan, and I
dice
watched him playing
correctamente.
the guitar for a little while on the plane. Ted Nugent. Ted.
Almohadita, Mike Almohadita
Thank you,
Patriota.
Ted. Great job. That was a great job, Ted.
Ese es el
A lot of
almohadita
fans.
patriota.
Together over 4 incredible
Yo compré
years,
una
we achieved
almohada
more
de
than
esas que
virtually
son
any
largas, así
administration
para
in
uno
history.
abrazarse.
Every promise I made to you
Ahí
as a
la tengo.
candidate, I fulfilled as your president. Promises made, promises kept. I promised to end NAFTA, and I did.
Yo
Everybody said it
prometo
would be
terminar con
impossible
la
to end
NAFTA
NAFTA.
y con toda
Replacing it
esa
with the great
gente también
USMCA, that's Mexico, Canada, and let me just tell
y
you,
reemplazarlo
they
con
want
la
to
USCA.
renegotiate the deal. And I have great respect, by the way, for the head of Canada. He's a great gentleman. He's a great gentleman. And we worked very closely on the border, and it was good for him, good for us, but we had a border that was virtually shut, not only to people. They came in. If they come in legally, we like it. But it also,
Dice que
we had
él también
drugs
está de
that were
acuerdo con uno de los
literally
grandes
one-tenth of what they
de
are
los
now.
que
The drugs are
están
pouring in.
haciendo
People talk
cosas
about
positivas
the people that are
en
pouring
la
in, but the
frontera de
drugs that are
Canadá.
pouring into our country, killing everybody, killing so many people. That's another
Sí, okay,
lie,
que
Dan,
se
because
puede
they keep
dejar
talking
entrar a
about
personas,
100,000 people,
pero personas
75,000
que
people.
vengan
I've been
legalmente,
hearing that number
personas que
for
vengan
15
correctamente,
years.
personas que
It's
sean
hundreds
de
and
bien,
hundreds
no
of thousands of
delincuentes.
people, probably 500,000 people, and nobody wants to say it. There's no army that could ever do damage to us like that's doing. I promised to appoint two conservative justices to the United States Supreme Court, and I did. I promised to move the embassy to Jerusalem, and I got it built. Not only did I do that, I got it built for a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time. It was supposed to cost $2 billion. I got it built for $500,000. Does that sound? We took an existing
Alma
building
burro.
and renovated it.
Alma burro, se le cayó el negocio, la exportación de gas a Venezuela. Bueno, qué bueno, me alegro muchísimo. Eso es por dar trapalero que es y por lo delincuente que es.
Can you believe what's going on in Iran? And you see what's going on? They attacked us in 78 different locations. When I was president, they didn't attack us at all. They attacked us in 78 different locations.
Tú tienes la
I promised to
almohada
kill
de
the
lujo.
unfair and ridiculous Paris Climate Accord where the United
Yo
States
tengo la
was going to
grande.
pay trillions of
Se la voy a
dollars,
enseñar.
and China, Russia, India weren't
Vengo de
paying anything. And I achieved a thing called, which you'll like, energy independent, soon to be energy dominant. We're going to be energy dominant. For Texas, we would have had, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any nation in the world. Does anyone know that? Nobody knows that. And I got Anwar approved in Alaska. One of the first moves the Biden administration did. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it done. Nobody could get it done. Of course, Bush couldn't get it done. I don't know if he tried. But everybody tried to get it done. I got it done. We were all set. We were going to take out more. We could have paid off debt. We would have made a fortune. As big as Saudi Arabia, probably, Anwar. And the first
Es
thing
enorme
they did,
de grande.
first week, is they ended the Anwar deal that I made. And Alaska was getting all set to go to town. But I made these promises and more, and I kept every single one of those promises and many, many more than that. Now we're laying out a bold, fast forward-looking vision for what we will do when we take the oath of office as the 47th President of the United States.
Sí, es riquísima, sí. A mí me encanta abrazarla así y acurrucarla. La almohada esa me acompaña mejor que un novio.
As president, I will immediately end the invasion of our southern border and all of those
Dice
Texas
enseguida que yo
ranchers,
salga, voy a terminar
all of those
con
great
la
ranchers
situación
whose
que hay en
houses
la
are being
frontera. Esa
invaded.
invasión tiene que
Invaded. They
terminar.
never had anything like this. I saw somebody three days ago said, 2 years ago, the border was totally secure. We had no problem. You wouldn't see anything. And today it's a disaster. People knocking on our door and they want to knock the hell out of us. I built hundreds of miles of wall and completed that task totally as promised. And then I began to add even more wall in areas where it was needed. And I could have done it all in 3 more weeks, but Biden decided not to do it. And that's when I said, well, if he doesn't want to do it, then he actually wants to have open borders. That's when I first saw it, Dan.
No,
Under
pero
my
esta yo
leadership,
sí la
we will
abrazo
seal it up
así, la
and we will
abrazo
expand
ahí.
the wall even
Me
further.
embrujo
Walls
con
to
ella.
Remember, I used to say walls and
Es
wheels.
mejor esa no
They can come up with all the
molesta y si
computers
se
and
daña,
everything they
se
want. The 2
cambia.
things that are going to work for a long time are walls and wheels. Other countries are emptying out their prisons, insane
Bueno,
asylums,
dice,
and
hay
mental
otros países que
institutions,
están
and
vaciando sus
sending
cárceles
their most
y
heinous
sus,
criminals to the
y
United
sus
States.
centros
And who can blame them, right? Who can blame them? These are very
mentales y
smart
los está
people,
mandando
the
hacia la
presidents and the
frontera.
heads of these countries, presidents, prime
Estos
ministers, and
presidentes
dictators. I
de
know
estos
them all.
lugares y estos
But they're very smart, very
dictadores,
streetwise, and they're
porque
sending
todos
the
esos son
criminals
unos dictadores,
to live in the United
eh,
States. We're talking about
están
mental
mandando a todos los
institutions
criminales
and
que ellos
prisons, think of
encuentren
it.
para acá.
And they're all coming in. I read a story recently where a doctor in a mental institution in a certain country in South America is saying, my whole life I've been so busy taking care of people, but now I have no people to take care of because they're all
Dice, es
being sent into
increíble,
the
un
United
médico de
States.
Suramérica,
And I
de un
said,
país de
how
Suramérica, está diciendo,
stupid are we?
toda
How
mi
stupid
vida
are we?
he cuidado
How
a
stupid are we?
de
We're
estas
gonna be living
personas
with
y he
this for so
tratado a
long,
estas
but
personas
we're
que
gonna
tienen
get as
problemas
many as we
mentales.
can. We're
Y
gonna get
ahora
ICE
no
on
hay
the road
nadie
because
para
ICE
tratar,
and Border
ahora no hay
Patrol,
nadie para ayudar.
Border Patrol,
Todos los han mandado para
guys
la
like Tom
frontera
Homan,
para
who
que
I
se
saw
vayan a los
yesterday,
Estados
he's
Unidos, los
fantastic.
empujan, los obligan a que
You
se
have some
vayan
people
para
at
allá.
Border Patrol, I'll
Wow.
tell you.
Qué horror.
Your leader at Border Patrol, I won't mention his name because I don't think he's supposed to be very political, but you got a great, that's right, you got a great man at Border Patrol. As
No te
president, I'll
preocupes,
sign a
Guido y
massive
Luz, que
increase in
cuando
Border
salga el
Patrol and a
Titán
colossal
le van a
increase
meter
in the
mano a
number of
Colombia
ICE deportation
rápido.
officers. We're going to
El
clean up
Petro
our
se va a
country.
quedar despetroncado.
We're going to clean it up. These are great American heroes. Nobody knows about it. And you know, I know some of the people in the first few rows and they're tough guys, but they're not going to work for ICE. ICE will walk into MS-13. They call it a nest.
Dicen
Where
que
guys will
ICE los llaman
young girls. They
un
killed 2 young 16-year-old girls with knives. They didn't want to use a gun
MS-16
because it's too
porque,
fast.
wow,
They're vicious,
dice que
vicious
han
people.
matado a
And
niñas
they killed
de
them with
13
knives. They
años,
carved them up and they
que
died. Both of them, they were going to school.
son
They were
gangas que
walking to
son
school in
bien
Long Island.
peligrosas
And they killed them.
y las
And these
matan.
guys walk into those nests, they walk in and they're swinging,
Cuando
and
estas
their fists
personas
are
que
going and
están
everything. They
defendiendo
end up always
entran a
standing up
esos
and
lugares, esos son
cutting them
nidos
away. They take
de
them in a
gente
paddy wagon, they
criminales, las
call
más
them.
malas.
They take them away, they get them the hell out of our country. We couldn't get them out under Obama because the other countries wouldn't take them. They said, we're not going to take the people. So they'd clog up the
Cuando
airport, you couldn't land the
estaba el
plane. They'd
Obama,
clog up
pues
the roadway
no
so the
se
bus is
fueron de
taking
aquí porque
really bad
ninguno de
people
esos
back
países quería
into
mantener
Honduras and
a esas personas
El
o las quería
Salvador,
recibir de regreso.
Guatemala,
Y cuando
other
él
countries, they wouldn't allow
entró
us
en
to do
vigencia,
it.
pues él dijo,
So
sí
I
se
said
tienen
to
que
him,
ir y
well,
se van a ir.
how are we going to get them out?
Igual
They
que
said,
en las
"So
de
we can't get them out."
Guatemala,
We
las
gave
que
up
hay en
years
todos esos
ago under
lugares.
the Obama administration because they
Sí
won't take them
tuvieron que
back.
irse.
I said, let me ask you a question. How much do we pay them in aid?
¿Cuánto
Sir,
le
we pay them
pagamos a nosotros
$750
a ellos
million
en
a
AIDS,
year.
en ayuda?
I said, tell them that as of
Bueno,
tonight
pues
at
si
5
no
o'clock, they're
pagan,
not getting any more aid.
no van a recibir, si no los reciben para atrás,
Remember I did
si no
this,
los
Dan?
recogen para atrás, no le vamos a dar más
And the
ayuda.
following morning at 8 o'clock,
Y
I get 3 calls
al
almost
otro día dice que por la
simultaneously,
mañana
separate
lo
but
estaban llamando
simultaneously. And they said essentially the same thing.
y
Sir,
dijeron sí,
we understand there's some difficulty with
lo
getting
vamos
people
a
back into our
recibir
nation.
de
We would be
regreso.
honored to take MS-13
Sí,
with
sí,
tattoos
todos
all
los
over
de
their
la
face. We would be
MS-13
honored.
lo vamos a
We would be honored to
recibir
take
para
them back,
atrás.
sir. They are wonderful
Sí,
people.
sí, sí.
Please
No.
send as many as you would like, sir.
Mándelos
When are we
de
gonna get the
regreso
money?
que
We can get
nosotros
some
lo
money.
vamos a...
But we don't use
Para que ustedes
that.
vean
We don't
cómo
talk
es lo
that
que yo
way
siempre
in
les he dicho.
government because we
Money
have
talks
stupid
and
people.
bullshit walks. El
doing
dinero
things.
habla y la
We will
basura
use all
camina. Por no
necessary
decir la
state,
porquería,
local, federal, and
camina. Porque
military
es así.
resources to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. And Eisenhower did it, so we don't have to
Dice,
feel
bueno,
so bad.
pues
But
Eisenhower
was
fue otro de
very,
los
strong on that.
presidentes
A lot
que
of people
hizo
don't know
algo
that.
así como hice
I
yo.
will reinstitute Title 42 to keep
Y
sick
voy a
people out of our
reinstalar
country and
el
to bring back
artículo
Remain
42
in Mexico policy.
con la póliza de México.
You can't come in, you have to remain in Mexico. You think that
No
was easy
puedes
for me to
entrar
get?
más, te tienes
And
que
the
quedar
first day
entonces
they
en
came in,
México.
they didn't want to do it. And even the judge ruled in our favor. I will ask every state and federal agency to identify every known or suspected gang member in America.
Yo voy
And
lo
every
primero
one
que
of
voy a
them that
hacer
is
a
here
decirle a
illegally
todas
will
las
be packed
agencias de
up
todos
and
los
immediately
condados, de
taken
todos
out of
los
our
estados
country
que
and
identifiquen.
delivered to
Me
their
tienen que
country
identificar
of
a todos los
origin.
miembros de ganga. Todos tienen que ser identificados y todos van
And before
de
I even
regreso.
arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine
Y
settled.
yo,
It
otra de
would
las
never
cosas
have
que voy a
happened.
hacer allí entrando es terminar esta guerra estúpida.
I used to talk to
Yo
Putin. I
en
got along well
24
with
horas
Putin.
la
I used to
cierro.
talk to Putin
Termino
about
la
it.
guerra de
It's something
Putin
he certainly had it as I
y,
never even talked about.
y
For
de
4 years,
Ucrania.
you didn't even hear about it. As soon as I was out or left, or however you want to describe that catastrophe, they started putting soldiers on the border. But even then, he didn't want to do it. He wanted to get a peace. Now it looks like he'll end up probably getting the whole thing. But I've never seen anything like it, what's happened. And if you saw the other day with President Xi, smart, top of his game. President Putin, smart. Very
Presidentes
smart people
inteligentes
standing
en
there
este
talking about the
juego,
world
Xi
order
Jinping,
for the next
presidente
100
inteligente en
years.
este
That's
juego,
one of the saddest
Putin.
things you can imagine. One of the
Eh,
saddest. I'm proud to be the only president in decades who did not start a new war. Everyone said,
Y
oh,
soy
he's
el
going to
único
start.
presidente que hubo en esta
He's gonna
década que
start
no
a new war.
inició una guerra
And it's
mientras
no
estuvo en el
coincidence
mandato.
that the deep state is coming after me even harder.
Por
since
eso es
I
una de las
pledged to
razones
swiftly
que el Deep
end the war
State
in
está
Ukraine.
yendo
So
atrás de mí más
when I say
fuertemente.
ending, I'm going to get a settlement very quickly. And I know both people, and you can get
Pero
it
yo sé
very,
que
very
enseguida que
quickly.
yo hable con
You can
los
only
dos
do it through
parties,
the
que yo ponga a
presidency,
Putin aquí
but
y
you
yo
control
ponga
the
al de
money coming
Ucrania
in,
aquí,
coming out. You can
al
get that. I will
Zelensky.
have that settlement done within
Eso
24
en menos
hours.
de 24 horas yo sé que esa guerra termina.
Standing before you today, I am the only candidate who can make this promise.
Yo soy
I
el
will
único
prevent
candidato aquí parado
World
delante de
War
ustedes
III,
que va
which
a
we're
poder
heading into.
evitar una
Which we're
guerra
heading into.
World War III. Porque estamos yendo hacia
We're
ahí.
heading into World War III, and this will be a war like
Y
no
esto
other.
sería una
Not
guerra
only
como
is
nunca
Biden courting
antes, como
nuclear
ninguna otra.
holocaust, he's blowing up the U.S. economy with the Biden banking crisis, a disaster
Las crisis
of
que hay tan
historic
grande
proportions. There's no
bancaria,
reason for
el
that either.
desastre
There's
tan
no reason
grande
for
que ha
inflation.
ocasionado
You know who caused
las
inflation?
bolsas y esta
Energy.
inflación horrible
He
que ha causado
restricted
el
energy.
Biden.
He made it impossible to get. It went through the roof. Sid, it went through the roof. Energy went through the roof, and with it came
La
inflation.
energía fue
As
al
president, I will end the
en los
inflation
precios
nightmare and
como
rebuild the
subieron,
greatest
como
economy in the
todo
history of the world, just
se
like we
fue
had it
hacia
before.
el techo.
And I
Y
will
la economía,
reclaim
la verdad es que
our energy independence and
mal.
energy dominance as
Y yo
we
voy
had
a hacer lo
just
mismo que yo
a
estaba
few
haciendo
short
cuando fui
years
que
ago.
hice Energy
Proud
Independent.
Texas
Éramos
energy workers will
independientes
once again be
en
pumping,
energía.
producing, and refining
Eso es lo que
Texas
tenemos
soil
que
and
hacer.
gas to turn America into the #1
Para
energy
convertir Texas va a ser el
superpower
lugar
on earth.
número
We
uno
had it
de las
there.
refinerías y
We
de
had it. We were
convertir
doing more than
a
Saudi
los
Arabia.
Estados
Well, we
Unidos,
were number
América,
one. I would have been bigger than both of them
independiente de
combined
energía
in
de
a short
nuevo.
period of time. And then they
Y
did
todo
what
esto
they've
se puede
done. I will
hacer y
protect,
combinarlo y
unlike
hacerlo en un corto
DeSantis,
tiempo.
Social Security
El
and
gas también,
Medicare
sí.
for our great seniors,
Con la
defending
ayuda
them
del
from both the radical
Todopoderoso,
left and
así
the
mismo.
pro-Ryan Republican establishment. I will revoke China's most favored nation status. I will implement a 4-year plan to phase
Vaya
out
tú.
all Chinese imports of essential goods
Tremendo
and gain
regalito que le han
total
tirado a
independence
ustedes
from
allá en
China,
Colombia.
which we don't have right now. And I will hold the Chinese Communist Party accountable for unleashing
voy
the
a-
China virus upon the
Y
world.
voy a
So many
tener
people
al
are dead.
Communist China Party,
I will
al
immediately
Partido
sign a new
Comunista de China,
executive order to cut
ponerlo
federal funding
responsable
for any school
de todas
pushing critical
estas
race theory,
situaciones que han causado y
transgender
creado
insanity,
con este
and
gobierno.
other racial,
Y
sexual, or
también
political
voy a
content
terminar
on our
lo
children.
de el transexualismo y toda
I will
esta
fight for
situación que
parents'
hay
rights,
de
including
sexualidad.
universal school
Todo
choice
eso
and the
tiene que
direct
terminar. Las
election of
escuelas,
school
los
principals by the
principales
parents.
tienen que terminar todo esto y
If
respetar
any
lo que los
principal is
padres
not
digan.
getting the job done, the parents should be able to vote to
Porque los
fire
padres
and
son
select
los que
someone
tienen que
else
hacer
who will
por
get
sus
the
hijos
job done.
y van a poder votar
We will defeat
para
the
que
cult of
esas
gender
personas se
ideology to
vayan
reassert
de esos
that God
lugares.
created
El
two genders,
principal, los maestros,
male
el que
and
no le
female.
guste,
Thank
que
you.
se largue.
Right? I will revoke every Biden policy promoting the
Voy a
disfigurement of our
revocar
youth
todas
and
las
ask
pólizas que ha
Congress
hecho
to send me a
Biden,
bill
todas de
prohibiting
ellas.
child sexual mutilation in all 50
Especialmente
states.
con estas leyes que es para los
And we
niños
will
de
keep men out of women's
¿cómo es que le dicen?
sports.
Sexual mutilation, mutilándolos sexualmente.
I will not give one penny to any
Mutilaciones
school that is a
sexuales.
vaccine mandate
Él
or
no
a
quiere que
mask
los niños sean
mandate.
ya más mutilados sexualmente, porque dice
Just
que
as
eso
we
no
did
es
before,
correcto.
we will protect innocent life and defend free speech.
Y voy a
I will
defender
support
siempre la
a
libertad de expresión,
constitutional
la
amendment to
libertad de
put
poder
term
hablar
limits
lo que
on
tú
members of
quieras
Congress.
hablar. Y todo esto sé que va a pasar en el Congreso.
And I will move heaven and earth to fully secure our
Y son
elections.
tan...
Our goal will be one-day voting with all paper ballots. Very simple. But until that day comes, Republicans must compete
Sí, es
using
como
every
todo,
lawful
hay de
means to
todo,
win. We
hay
have to
de
do
todo.
it. This election is everything. We're not
Pero
going to have
los
a country
malos
left if
son
we don't
bien
win this
malos.
election. This
Como
agenda will
pasa
end
en todos los
America's
lugares.
destruction at the hands of Biden and the radical left Democrats. But it's not
Estas
enough just to
elecciones no
stop
se
the
pueden
forces
dejar en
tearing
las manos
down
de esa
America.
gente
It's
ya
time to
más, de
start
los radicales
talking about
demócratas
greatness for our country
progresivos.
again. Our
el
objective will be a
objetivo
quantum
número
leap
uno
in
es
American
poder
standards of
tener
living.
que,
We will hold a competition to build new freedom cities throughout our
hagamos
country,
al país
giving
libre de
countless
nuevo.
Americans a new shot at home ownership and a real shot at the
Y dar
American
un
dream. We will
quantum
build
leap,
new
quiere decir
monuments to our great
dar
American
un
heroes. We
salto
won't tear them
cuántico
down, we'll build
grande.
them up.
Él quiere dar un
Clean
salto
out homeless
cuántico
camps
grande.
from our inner cities. Get rid of ugly buildings that are hurting those cities and other places, and return to the magnificent classical style of Western civilization. We will support baby bonuses, so many people like that, for the new baby boom that will be coming. We need babies. All of this is within our reach as
Otro
long as
baby
we have the
boom. Voy
courage
a
to stick
estar al tanto de que
together,
eso
stand
pase
firm
porque
against all
necesitamos tener
attacks,
más babies.
and see this mission through
Porque ahora lo que está
to
pasando
ultimate
es que están
victory.
cortando todo eso. Y últimamente, para poder llegar a la victoria, tenemos que hacer eso.
In conclusion, our MAGA movement is the greatest political movement in the history of our country. Together we are taking on some of the most menacing forces and vicious opponents our people have ever seen, some of them from within. But no matter how hateful and corrupt the communists and criminals we're fighting against may be,
Y no importa lo
you must
criminal
never
que
forget
sean, no
this
importa lo
nation does
comunista que
not
sean,
belong
siempre
to them.
vamos a
This
estar
nation
y
belongs
vamos a ir
to
hacia
you.
adelante
To you.
de esto. Y
Belongs
esta
to you.
nación no es de ellos, esta nación es de ustedes, esta nación es de los americanos. Esta nación pertenece a ustedes, el pueblo. We the people.
This is your home.
Esta es tu casa.
This is your heritage.
Esta es tu
And our
herencia.
American liberty is
Y
your
esta
God-given
es,
right. From
esos son tus
Waco
derechos
to
que te
El
dio
Paso,
Dios al nacer
from
aquí.
Houston to Dallas, and from the Red River to the Rio Grande, the people of Texas live and breathe the fierce spirit of independence. You are great,
Aquí
great
en
people.
Texas los derechos siempre serán
Great
así,
people.
porque son personas muy
Pastor.
buenas, personas muy
Thank you, Robert.
luchadoras.
This is the state where William Travis, James Bowie, and Davy Crockett made their last
Este es el
stand
estado
at the
donde William
Alamo.
Travis, David Crockett
This is the state where a small band of
hicieron muchas
patriots,
cosas.
the Battle of Gonzales, you know
Y
all
aquí
about
fue
the
la
Battle
batalla
of
de
Gonzales.
Gonzalo.
Armed with a single
Of
cannon,
Gonzales.
stared down a foreign enemy and declared, "Come and take it." They said, "Come and take it."
Que eran gente de mucho coraje,
And Texas
personas
is the
de
state where generations of farmers and ranchers, sheriffs and
todos
lawmen, cowboys, cattle
todos los
hands,
cowboys, todos los
prospectors,
que crían
and
ganado,
pioneers
todos
helped
los que
build
tenían sus
America
ranchos,
into the greatest nation in the history of the
convirtieron
world.
a
And we're going
Texas
to
en
bring
una
it back to that
de las
level.
más
It's not there
importantes en la
now.
nación.
We're going to bring it back.
Y esto lo vamos a, tengan seguro que esto lo vamos a traer de regreso, esto va a volver de regreso. No ves bien el celular. Ay, a mí me encanta esa música que él pone. Esa música a mí me gusta.
But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation
Somos una
in
nación
50
que tiene
years,
la
where banks are
inflación más
collapsing
grande del mundo.
and interest rates are
Y los,
far too high.
Los intereses son
Likewise,
los
we
más
are a
altos,
nation where energy costs
donde la
have
energía,
reached
el
the
costo
highest
es
in our
y ha
history.
alcanzado lo más
We're no
alto
longer
en la
energy
historia
independent
de
or
nuestra
energy
energía.
dominant as we were.
Hay que volver a ser
just
independiente de
3 short
energía y
years
dominante
ago.
de energía.
We are a
libre.
nation that is begging Venezuela and many others for
Somos
oil.
un país en este momento que
Please,
le están
please help
rezando,
us, Joe
le
Biden
están
says.
pidiendo a Venezuela que le
And yet
den
we have more
gas,
liquid
que le den
gold right under
petróleo,
our feet
y esto ha
than
sido
any other
causado por el
country.
Joe Biden.
We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's Green
Estamos
New
siendo
Deal.
sucumbidos por
Yet
los
everyone knows that the Green
radicales
New Deal will
libres de la
lead to our
izquierda
destruction. We
y
are a
están
nation
llevando
whose
al país
leaders
a
are
una
demanding
destrucción.
all electric cars
un país que
even
está
though they can't
pidiendo
go
y
far,
quieren hacer todo
cost
lo que
too
sea
much,
carros
and
eléctricos,
whose
quieren
batteries are
quitar los
produced in
carros de
China
gasolina
with materials only available in
y
China,
con materiales que
when an
solamente vengan
unlimited
de la
amount of
China y que
gasoline
solamente
is
puedan ser
available
comprados allí porque ahí es
inexpensive
donde único lo va a
in the
ver.
United States of America, but is not available in China.
Y así
We
es.
are a nation that ended oil exploration and production in
Somos
the
una
United
nación que
States,
terminamos la
just as the price
exploración
of oil reached
de
an
el producto
all-time
materia
high.
real que
What
es
other
el gas,
country would do
el
such a
petróleo.
thing?
Y
We are
eso
a
no debe
nation
ser
that
así.
surrendered in Afghanistan,
Somos una nación que nos
leaving
rendimos en
behind dead
Afganistán.
soldiers, American citizens, and
los soldados,
$85
los
billion
ciudadanos
worth of
americanos,
the finest
85
military
billones de
equipment
dólares en
anywhere in the
armamento
world.
y en equipo se les
We are
dejó
a
allí.
nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country,
Y-
Ukraine, killing
Somos una
hundreds of
nación que
thousands of
permitimos
people.
en este momento
and it will only
desbaratar
get
a
worse.
Ucrania a través de
It would never
Rusia,
have happened with me as your
que esto
commander-in-chief.
nunca debería haber
And for
pasado. Si
4
yo hubiera
straight
estado en comando
years,
en este
it
momento,
didn't happen.
esto no hubiera pasado.
China and Taiwan.
China
will
y
be
Taiwán serán
We are a
próximos.
nation that has weaponized its law
¿está diciendo
enforcement
algo?
against the opposing political party like never before.
Es
We've
una
got
nación
a
que está
Federal Bureau of Investigation that
queriendo
won't
ir
allow
hacia la
bad
izquierda
election-changing facts to be
contundamente,
presented to the public, and which offers $1 million to a writer of fiction about Donald Trump to lie and say it
y
was
somos
actually
una
fact.
nación que han permitido
Where Hunter
a un
Biden's
escritor con
laptop
$1 millón
from
de
hell
dólares, dándole
was
$1 millón
Russian
de dólares que
disinformation,
escriban
and the
mentiras
FBI
de
knew
Donald
it
Trump.
wasn't. And the Department of
Y
Justice that
tenemos un
refuses to
departamento de
investigate
justicia
egregious acts of voting
que no
irregularities
quiere
and fraud.
investigar, no quiere
And we have a
procesar
man
a
who
las
is
personas
the
culpables
worst
del
president in
fraude
the history
electoral.
of our country, who is cognitively impaired, in
Estamos
no condition to
cognitivamente
lead, and is
mal
now casually talking about nuclear war with Russia.
y ahora se está
He
hablando
has
con
no
Rusia
idea
y
what he's even talking about.
situaciones de guerra nuclear.
This war would be
Este
World
World War
III
III sería
and far more devastating than any of the
devastador
previous world wars,
y sería
because of the
mucho peor que
weaponry
cualquier otra guerra
no one
mundiales
even
que han
wants to
habido,
think about
porque la
or
guerra nuclear
discuss.
no es lo mismo.
We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake
No
news
somos
is
una
all you
nación que
get,
tenemos una
and
prensa
they are
limpia y
the
una prensa
enemy of the
libre.
people. We are a nation where free speech,
Somos una
is no
nación
longer allowed,
donde el
where crime is
poder hablar
rampant and out of
libremente no es
control
posible, somos
like never
censurados.
before. We are a nation
Somos
that
también
is
una
allowing
nación
Iran to build a massive
que
nuclear
estamos
weapon would have
aguantando
never
a Irán
happened.
a
And
hacer
China to use the trillions of
armas
dollars
devastadoras
it has taken from us to build a military
para crear una
that will rival
militar
our own.
que va a poder
And just 2
incautar
years
a la
ago, we had
nuestra.
Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea in check. They weren't
Y
going to do a thing against
Ellos,
us.
yo los tuve a la
And
China,
everyone
a Rusia,
knows it. Now Russia and
y los
China
tuve en la
are
precisa en
united and
check
holding
que
summits
ellos
to
no
carve
podían
up the
hacer
world.
nada.
And perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer
Y ahora
respected or
somos una
listened to
nación que
on
no
the
somos
world
respetados
stage. We are a nation
través
that
del
in many
mundo.
ways has become a joke.
y nos
And we are a
dicen
nation that
y
is
somos
hostile
como
to
una
liberty,
burla en
freedom,
este momento
and
delante de
faith.
las otras naciones.
We are a nation whose economy is collapsing,
Somos una
whose
nación donde la
supply chain
economía
is
está
broken,
colapsando cada
whose
vez
stores
más
are not
y ya es
stocked,
como una cadena
whose deliveries
de
are
lo que está
not coming,
pasando,
and whose educational
especialmente en
system
la
is
educación
ranked
también.
at the very bottom of
En la
every single
educación,
list.
el sistema educativo
We are a
está
nation
abajo,
where
abajo, abajo.
large
Ha
packs
llegado a un
of
punto
sadistic
donde no
criminals
hay
and
un
thieves
sistema educativo.
are allowed to go into stores and openly rob them,
Y somos una nación
beat up and kill
hemos
their
dejado y
workers and
permitido a que
customers,
los matones,
and
a que los
leave
criminales
with
entren en los
armloads of
lugares,
goods,
roben,
but with no
con pistolas,
retribution,
quemen y hagan
where the
horrores.
authority of our great police has
Y
been
no
taken,
hemos dejado que los
where their
policías hagan
families
su
and
trabajo
pensions have been
sabiendo ellos lo que
threatened,
tienen que
and
hacer.
their lives would be
Le han
destroyed for the
quitado,
mere mention
le han
of
quitado
the
su
words
trabajo por
law
ayudar, por
enforcement. We are a
porque no
nation where
pueden hacer
fentanyl and
nada.
all other
Les
forms
dicen
of
que no pueden
illegal
hacer
drugs
nada.
are easier to get
Este es un país en este
formula for our
momento
beautiful
donde la
little
droga
babies.
es más fácil
A
de
nation
encontrar que en
where
cualquier
once
otro.
revered airports are dirty, they're a crowded mess. You
Los-
sit and
y
wait for
somos una
hours
nación
and then are
donde los
notified that the
aeropuertos
plane
están
won't leave
haciendo un
and they have
funcionamiento
no idea
horrendo,
when
horrible.
it will.
Las
Where ticket
esperas son
prices have
largas, los
tripled,
aviones no
they
están
don't have the
reparados
pilots to fly the planes.
y las
They don't
personas
seek
que están
qualified
volando los
air
aviones
traffic
no
controllers,
están
and they just don't
calificadas,
know what the hell they are doing.
no están
We are a
calificadas,
nation that has
que las
lost its
personas que están
confidence, its
conduciendo las
willpower,
torres de aviones
and
no
its
están
strength.
calificadas
We are a
correctamente.
nation that has lost its way.
Hemos sido una
But we are
nación
not
ahora que
going to allow
hemos
this horror
perdido
to
nuestro
continue.
camino, hemos perdido
2
a
years
donde
ago,
íbamos.
we were a great nation, and we will soon be
Pero
a great
pronto
nation
vamos a
again.
ser una buena nación
It
de
was
nuevo, una
hard-working
nación
patriots
mucho
like
mejor
you
de como
who
está.
built this country, and it is hard-working patriots like
Y
you
porque los
who are going
trabajadores de los
to
Estados
save
Unidos son
our
personas
country.
que son muy eficaces trabajando y trabajan duramente.
Together we are going to finish what we
Juntos
started.
vamos a empezar,
With you at
vamos
my
a terminar
side,
lo
we
que
will
empezamos.
totally obliterate the deep state
Vamos a obliterate,
banish
vamos a desaparecer
warmongers
al Estado
from
profundo.
our government. We will drive
vamos a
out the
establecer un
globalists and we
gobierno
will cast out the communists
y
and
sacar
Marxists.
y erradicar
We
al
will throw
comunismo
off the corrupt political
y a todos los
class. We
corruptos
will beat the
políticos que hay y
Democrats.
existen en la
We will rout
democracia
the fake news
para que de verdad
media.
haya una
We will
democracia.
stand up to the rhinos and
Nos vamos a
we will
parar,
defeat
enfrentar a los
Joe
rhinos y
Biden and
sacarlos
every
de su
single
lugar.
Democrat.
Y tenemos que sacar a el chochín.
We will
Para poder
liberate
ser
America
liberados.
from these villains and tyrants
De
who are
todos
looking to
estos
destroy
tiranos y
our
villanos
country. No matter
que
what they
están
throw at
destruyendo
us,
nuestro
no
país.
matter what they do to us,
No
we
importa
will
lo que
not
pase,
bend,
no importa lo que
we
nos
will
hagan,
not break,
no
we
importa,
will not
nosotros
yield.
no nos vamos a
We will
agachar,
never give in,
no
we
nos
will
vamos a
never give up, we will
rodillar, no
never,
nos vamos
ever
a
back
vencer
down.
nunca, nunca,
We
ni
will
vamos a echar
complete the
marcha atrás.
mission. We will cross the finish line.
Nosotros vamos
We
a
will
cruzar
demolish
esa línea
tyranny
donde
and
íbamos
we will
a
rescue
terminar,
freedom,
a donde
liberty,
vamos a terminar.
and justice. And
Y
we will
vamos a
restore
encontrar
the
justicia y a
American
restaurar
Republic to
América
all
de
of its
nuevo.
greatness and glory greater than ever before.
Porque este es un
My
país
fellow
de gloria.
citizens, this incredible
para
journey we are on
todos.
together has only just begun.
Toda esta
We are
jornada
one
solamente está
movement, one people,
empezando.
one family,
Somos
and one
un
nation
movimiento,
under
una
God.
familia y una nación bajo Dios. Amén. Así es. Y así será
With your help,
porque lo decreto.
your prayers, your
Con tu
vote,
ayuda, con tu
and your
voto, con tus
unwavering
oraciones,
love for this country,
esta
we will
nación
make
va a
America
ser
powerful again.
poderosa de
We
nuevo,
will make America
La haremos
wealthy again.
rica
We
de
will
nuevo.
make America strong
La
again.
volveremos a hacer más fuerte aún.
We will make
Vamos a
America
hacer América
proud again.
orgullosa otra vez.
We will make
Y
America
hacemos
safe
y haremos
again.
América
and we will make
safe again.
America great
y
again.
vamos a hacer
Thank you,
América
Texas.
mucho
Thank you.
mejor de nuevo. Muchas
God
gracias,
bless you all.
Texas.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Él cambió el speech, está diciendo cosas más fuertes. Me gusta mucho lo que dijo con la militar cuando habló de los niños. Si escuchan ese pedazo, él ahí está diciendo lo que está pasando actualmente. Así que amigos, este fue el livecast. Perdonen que hubo el problema con el audio, pero no fue problema mío, sino fue algo que tiene que ver con YouTube. No sé ahí qué estaba pasando, pero bueno, ahora se pudo oír bastante bien, por lo menos casi todo. Y muchísimas gracias por ese tremendo discurso que dio, la verdad que sí. Me gustó mucho porque hizo mucho hincapié y él tocó, movió las piezas que él quiere hacer, esas piececitas muy importantes, especialmente cuando habló de la militar, cuando habló de los niños, cuando habló de cómo él va a tumbar todos los bills y todo lo que ha firmado Biden, lo va a tumbar completamente cuando él entre. Esa es una de las primeras cosas que va a hacer, y la segunda es terminar la guerra con Ucrania y con Rusia, porque dice que eso sí nos va a llevar a una guerra número 3. Y claro, al Deep State no le importa, porque ellos tienen bunkers y ellos piensan que se van a salvar porque se meten en esos huecos, y no saben que como está la cosa en este momento, como están por todos lados los volcanes teniendo problemas, la falla de la Nueva Madrid, la falla de todos que hay, lo que le dicen el cinturón de fuego, todo está activo, y ellos no saben que si inician una guerra nuclear, eso y la otra combinación de lo que está pasando por debajo, ellos mismos se van a enterrar en sus propias tumbas, porque esos bunkers van a ser su tumba. Ellos no van a poder salir más nunca de ahí porque van a sucumbir. Entonces, amigos, la verdad es que creo que él ha hablado muy bien, y él lo que está es tratando de buscar la paz y que se restaure la orden, que tengan los policías el derecho adecuado a cuando llegan gente a robar armadas y cuando llegan gente a llevarse cosas de los lugares, como está pasando en Nueva York, que los policías puedan acudir y puedan llevárselos y puedan aprenderlos y puedan encarcelarlos, porque en este momento no es posible. Si un policía toca a una de esas personas que se está llevando cosas, quien es arrestado es el policía, para que ustedes sepan cómo está la cosa en Nueva York. Es horrible en todos los estados demócratas, todos los estados que son de las radicales comunistas, ratas estas. Eso es lo que está pasando. Entonces ese policía que trabajó por 20 o por 30 años para un retiro pierde su vida completa. No le dan nada, lo botan y es hasta juzgado, para que ustedes sepan lo que está pasando. Entonces, pues, para adelante con Trump, y aquí no nos podemos bajar de esta guagua. En esta guagua tenemos que montarnos y seguir ahí al pie del cañón. Así mismitico. Bueno, amiguitos, pues esto es todo. Luz, Dido, Clau, gracias por estar por ahí. Mi prima, no sé si ha estado, se durmió. Muchísimas gracias por entrar y por ver esto. Traté de hacer lo mejor que pude. Y bueno, en la intención se hace con amor. Y yo la hice con mucho cariño y mucho amor. Bueno, bye bye. Que tengan un lindo fin de semana. Si algo grande pasa, pues entonces entraré y les dejaré saber qué es lo que está pasando. Ahora me voy a ver las noticias. Voy a tratar de ver qué cositas están pasando. Y gracias a mi amiga aquí, Luz Estela, que ella me manda muchas cosas. Así que si hay algo nuevo por ahí, yo que no he estado mirando nada de eso, me dejas saber. Bueno, besitos, los quiero todos y que descansen, que tengan un lindo sábado, bueno, una noche de sábado. Aquí ahora son las 8:30, las 8:35, horario atlántico aquí en la Florida. En Colombia, a ver, lo mismo, la policía pierde sus cargos. Ah, allá está pasando lo mismo. Wow, 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 wow. Increíble. No, sí, esto yo creo que es como, esto yo creo que es mundialmente, lo que está pasando es horrible mundialmente, así es. Bueno, lindas noches para todos, así mismo Dido, gracias por estar presentes ustedes. Bye bye. Nos vemos el lunes si no hay algo nuevo. Si veo que hay algo muy importante, pues mañana saldré. Así que nos vemos. Bye bye. Los quiero.